breaking news. The president is coming back to our area, his first visit of his second term right now.
So the president will be stopping on both sides of the river, and we've got team coverage for you this afternoon with the visit that is set to address a variety of topics. So we've got WLWT News 5's Todd Dykes live outside of Verse Logistics in Hebron, where supporters are lining up, getting checked out to see the president. Our Aaron Thomas is live in Redding, where Trump will deliver remarks at Thermo Fisher Scientific's facility. Let's start, though, with WLWT News 5 anchor Ashley Kirkland, who's just up the road from Todd at CVG. We know the president will be landing very shortly. We're watching, of course, takeoff there at the White House. Ashley, what do we know so far?
Hi, Kelly. Well, we are told that the president's plane, Air Force One, is set to land here at CVG just after 1 o'clock. I can tell you, we were down the road from the CVG viewing area. We were just escorted by CVG police to get away from that area. That area is closed off today. Now, typically when we have covered these presidential visits, there is an area that media is invited to see Air Force One land with the president, see him get off the plane, and also see him greet local officials. We have not been given that access today. So we're here at CVG outside of the parking area in the East Transport area and just waiting on the president's arrival, not given much information from the White House on the arrival today. We did get some shots of the viewing area that is closed off today, where we're hoping to see Air Force One arrive here at CVG. The normal viewing area, as I said, has been closed off to the media. We've been told that the president was set to take off from Joint Air Force Base Andrews at noon. He is set to deliver remarks, as you guys have mentioned, at 2:30 at the Thermo Fisher Scientific facility there in Redding. He will then take part in several media interviews before heading to Verse Logistics up the road here in Hebron to speak there at 4:30. Now, I have spoken to a spokeswoman at CVG. She said that she's not aware of any road closures at this moment leading up to the airport. And as of right now, operations within the airport and around the airport are presumed as normal here. We did see a large police presence just on the other side of CVG as you head up to the entrance of the airport, and we've spotted Secret Service along the way as well. So something to keep an eye out if you have flights coming in and out of CVG. Just make sure that you get here in plenty of time to get to your flight and get to your gate and everything like that. Ashley Kirkland reporting live here at CVG, WLWT News 5.
Ashley, thanks so much. We'll have more from you when the president does touch down, but let's go live to Joint Base Andrews, where Air Force One is standing by for President Trump to board, along with the media pool. Everybody that travels with the president will be keeping an eye on when President Trump arrives there, hops on the plane, and starts making that trip here towards Cincinnati. Now, when he lands, he will be making a couple different stops. Let's go to WLWT News 5's Aaron Thomas. He's joining us with preparations. Aaron, you are in Redding now, where the president will be speaking first.
Yeah, that's correct, Stephen. In fact, you can see behind me, you have the presence from several local law enforcement getting things ready for President Trump's visit. But also, as we pan over here down to Galbraith Road, you'll see quite a handful of demonstrators that are opposed to this visit. Just from the distance, I can see one sign that has 2547. That's referring to the 25th Amendment, and then 47th, President Trump being the 47th president. And then some other different signs, like we have somebody walking by right now with this sign that reads, Cincy Hearts Our Immigrants. President Trump scheduled to speak here at about 2:30 this afternoon. In this particular facility, Thermo Fisher Scientific is a local pharmaceutical company. They recently announced plans to invest an additional $2 billion over the next 4 years to enhance and expand its U.S. manufacturing operations and strengthen its innovation efforts. Now, the president, while here, plans to tout this efforts to lower prescription drug prices through Trump RX. If you recall, that's a new drug discount program that lists drugs at reduced rates with coupon codes to be used at eligible pharmacies. Now, ahead of the president's visit, we did mention the many demonstrators that are outside of this facility. They recognize the president's intentions on being here in Greater Cincinnati today, but they say that they're concerned about more divisive issues such as the conflict between Iran and higher gas prices.
Most of the things that the president has said and done is that he says a lot and does very little. So I don't really believe that prescription prices will be lowered. I mean, he's been promising that all along, and it's not happening.
And back here live, just within the past 15 or 20 minutes or so, our team did confirm that Governor DeWine, along with Senator Bernie Moreno, will be in attendance. Of course, we will have much more on our coverage and our later newscast. Reporting live in Redding, Aaron Thomas, WLWT News 5.
Aaron, thank you. So let's now get over to WLWT News 5's Todd Dykes, who is in Hebron, which is outside of Verse Logistics in Hebron. And Todd, we know this is where a large group of supporters will plan to meet. Todd, sorry, you're dealing with that rain out there right now.
Yeah, big group, Kelly. It's the rain, shine, whatever. We've had it all so far, and it is currently dumping rain here at Verse Logistics. We're in the parking lot. A lot of people making way to join that big crowd that you mentioned. Doors to this event will open at 1 o'clock in about an hour or so. So there are a lot of folks getting soaked right now. There's a fan, a supporter of President Trump walking by. Of course, this is largely private property, so you just have, by and large, supporters here at this point. People are eager to see the president and hear what he has to say during this afternoon's speaking engagement. Regardless of the rain, as I mentioned, we saw lots and lots of folks, I would say hundreds, thousands, arguably, and there'll be more throughout the afternoon. They're walking by right now, everybody in their Trump gear with their Trump hats, and there you can hear the noise, the exuberance. It really is kind of a bit of a festival atmosphere, honestly, when you talk to folks in line, many of whom are who live in here in northern Kentucky, but there are some that have driven from further distances that we've chatted with as well. So lots of conversations. Of course, everybody's well aware of the current issues in the state of play in the world, affordability concerns, gas prices and the like. But bottom line, on a day like today, it's more about the president being so close to home. Take a listen. Tell me about today. How excited are you and why are you here?
Yeah, I'm really excited. This is 5 miles from my house. I come here to support Trump, support the Republican Party.
I am so excited. This is the closest I've ever been to going to anything that he's involved in. And I am thrilled he came out here, and I think we need him.
Yeah, that is a common refrain that I've heard from a number of people this morning here outside Verse Logistics, a large packaging logistics company based in Hebron with operations really in a number of other places throughout the country. So what President Trump will say, we'll all be anxiously awaiting to hear the words that the Commander-in-Chief speaks, especially given the situation in the Middle East. People here just enthused to be able to have their close-up chance to see and hear what the President does have to say this afternoon. And we will, of course, have it all covered for you. For now, reporting live in a rainy Hebron in northern Kentucky, Todd Dykes, WLWT News 5.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been watching Todd's shot. It was sunny just a short time ago, so we understand how quickly that can change. Todd, thank you so much. And of course, our team coverage will continue throughout the day. Our reporters are out there in those elements bringing you the latest.
Yes, the president's visit to Greater Cincinnati happening here in just a couple of hours. We are watching Air Force One begin to load up here soon. We're going to bring you that coverage all day long on air on our website, WLWT.com.